What's going on, No Nation? CJ Wilson here with Dope Talk. The 2023 season has come to a close. Now it's time to shift focus to the 2024 season, and now it's peak transfer portal season. There's been a lot of activity within the transfer portal within the last couple of weeks. This is a big weekend for FSU as far as official visits and things like that. We're going to go over some guys that's going to be taking some visits or have taken some visits to FSU, and also some guys who I feel like may commit to FSU pretty soon out of the transfer portal. But before we get started, On the Trail is brought to you by Realtor Jewel Paul. Jewel is a realtor in Southwest Florida, but services the entire state of Florida. Whether you're trying to buy your home or sell your home, Jewel is your guy. He's willing to donate 20% of the closing cost of the buy or sell right back into your pocket. Jewel is a NOLES fan who like to take care of NOLES. So again, buy or sell, Jude is willing to donate some of the proceeds to the Battles End Collective. You can reach out to Jude at www.homesfornoles.com. Again, www.homesfornoles.com. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of activity for FSU within the transfer portal within these next couple of weeks as guys try to get into campus, for the spring semester. Let me know which transfer portal player that you want the most or which position that you want the most within the transfer portal. Defensive end has been a hot topic. Linebacker, quarterback, of course. Let me know which position, that you feel like FSU needs to improve at the most, and also which player do you feel like would be a good fit for FSU to pursue for that position. Couple guys, Jalen Brown. I like this kid a lot. He's currently on the LSU. He was currently on the LSU roster. He was a true freshman this past year, 2023 recruit from the state of Florida, Miami. He was one of my favorite receiver prospects in the state of Florida for the 2023 class, along with current FSU receiver Hakeem Williams. Fringe five-star guy. He was a top 100 player within the 2023 class. Straight Blazer, 6'1", 170 pounds. Runs a 10.6 in 100 meters and a 20 flat within the 200 meters. Was an All-American, not say All-American, but was an all-world track star down at Gulliver Prep High School. And if you remember Gulliver Prep and just that recruitment, he is teammates of current FSU defensive end Lamont Green Jr. I do expect Jalen Brown to be a Seminole once it's all said and done. He did officially enter the transfer portal. FSU playing very close in his recruitment out of high school. You're just pretty much down to Florida State, Miami, and LSU for Jalen Brown's services. I think FSU rather will win out on the second go round. He has 4 years left to play. Explosive guy. I think day one he will probably be the fastest receiver within the receiver room once he gets on campus. Again, he's probably not a guy that you look for as far as just being a instant impact Keon Coleman type for the 2024 season. But you got to look at the long run for FSU, 2025, 26, etc. Like I said, he has 4 years left to play. Really high ceiling, explosive playmaker. I like Jalen Brown a lot. Moving on to a couple of the guys. Linebacker has been a hot topic. Nikhai Hill-Green, linebacker out of Charlotte, University of Charlotte. He's on campus currently for an official visit. Posted over 70 tackles with Charlotte this past season. He is a former four-star kid that initially committed to Michigan, but transferred to Charlotte once his former coach at Michigan got the defensive coordinator job at Charlotte for the Charlotte Miners. Had over 50 tackles at Michigan, starting I think like 6 games, if I'm not mistaken. 6'2", 232 pounds. He also had 8 tackles in the sack this past year against the Florida Gators. If you guys remember that game last year, Florida played a real tough, close game in the swamp against Charlotte. He was a big piece of that, collecting 8 tackles in a sack. Earl Little Jr., Alabama defensive back, recently entered the transfer portal. He will be on campus this weekend for an official visit. I think FSU has a really good shot here. If you guys remember back to that recruitment, 2022 kid from American Heritage down in Fort Lauderdale. It was pretty much down to Florida State, Alabama, and Miami for his services. His dad, Earl Little Sr., played for the Miami Hurricanes, went on to play in the NFL as well. So again, big time playmaker, defensive back. He was one of my favorite guys within the 2023-22 cycle as well. From American Heritage, during that cycle, you guys remember it was a pretty hot school for us as far as, the buzz and things like that. Marvin Jones Jr. was his teammate within the 2022 cycle. He recently transferred to Florida State, and he's on campus with us now. So to have Earl as well, and also his head coach for American Heritage is FSU's current defensive back coach, and Patrick Surtain Sr. So you can kind of connect the dots in that in regards to Earl Little. I feel like he'll be a key addition for the secondary moving forward. Again, he could make some impact next year, but just for the long run in general, I think he fits well within the current defensive backs, whether the defensive backs we got within the last few years recruiting. Earl Little Jr. is just as good as those guys. So I think he'll be a good get as far as the depth piece and also bringing the competition within the room. I like Earl Little Jr. a lot, excuse me. Stefon Thompson, linebacker out of Syracuse, is entered the transfer portal. He's on campus as well for an official visit at FSU. 6'1", 248 pounds. He is a redshirt junior, has 2 years left to play. Didn't start this past season for Syracuse, but played in every game and tallied over 52 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks. When FSU played Syracuse this past season, Stefon had 6 total tackles in that game. This is an interesting one. Pearson Toomey, offensive lineman from the FCS ranks, currently he's in the transfer portal. Previously played for Furman University. Kid is out of Jacksonville Bowls. Really good program in Florida. So Florida kid as well. A couple hours down the road. He's 2-time first team All Southern Conference at 6'3", 295 pounds. Since he's entered the transfer portal, he has gotten offers from USF, Texas A&M, Pittsburgh, Michigan State, and South Carolina. This is an interesting one as well. Peny Boone. This is a big running back, 6'1", 240 pounds, calls himself Baby Bus, if I'm not mistaken, on Twitter. He was the MAC Offensive Player of the Year this past year, leading the MAC conference in rushing touchdowns, had over 1,400 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. Very productive, big back, could be a very good complement to the running backs we have in the room with Lawrence Toafili, Keziah Holmes, etc. Big back, like I said, he's going to be a guy that's going to get you those tough yardage and move the power forward. He's not going to get stopped in his tracks or have any knockbacks. Anytime, he's tackled, he's pretty much leading forward and getting those extra yardage. So, again, 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns would be a good complement to the FSU running back room, as FSU lost 3 running backs this past all season due to Trey Benson going to the NFL and 2 guys entering the transfer portal, and Rodney Hill and C.J. Campbell. So, to add, like I said, Peny Boone to the running back room would be pretty good. I like this kid a lot. Jaylin Lucas, this is an interesting one as well. Special teams demon / utility guy, transfer portal from Indiana. He will be on campus this weekend. He is the younger brother, FSU current receiver, Nikhai Douglas. He was an All-American kick returner as well. So this will be an interesting one as well if FSU end up taking him. I know we've been looking for that explosive guy on the kick return and punt return. I think he could be an instant plug-and-play guy as a return specialist, like I said. He was an All-American kick returner. Productive. We lose a lot of production within the receiver room. To bring a guy like this in could be pretty interesting as well. I know FSU is still entertaining a few more receivers within the transfer portal. The big one that everyone has talked about is Evan Stewart. Last I'm hearing about that is that the conversations within that recruitment is still fluid. We'll see if FSU could get a visit out of Evan Stewart and make something shake in regards to bringing him in. Real interesting as far as this weekend. A lot of action. The 2024 season is not necessarily approaching us, but putting the roster together for the 2024 season is it's in full force right now, and FSU is being very aggressive in the transfer portal. We'll see how things play out. We will bring you the updates and breaking news once things happen, like we always do within the commitments. But again, we got to give a shout out to our main sponsor, and that's against DASH.FI. Again, look out for DASH.FI. Dope Talk is brought to you by DASH.FI, the modern charge card for digital ad spend. You can apply for the DASH.FI MasterCard now. The link is in our description. So again, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel. We'll have more news coming for you as the FSU Seminoles and Mont Norvell try to shape up the 2024 roster coming off a successful 2023 season. Go Noles.